Hello, today I'd like to talk about a game called Highguard. Now, there's a good chance whoever's clicked on this video, you've already heard of this game. You've already watched 2 or 3 videos about the whole string of events from the Game Awards. This is not going to be a video about that. I'm simply going to drop my theory about the game's failure and how developers can learn from this game and not make its mistakes again. But I will briefly summarise what happened so everyone's on the same page. So, 12th of December 2025, the Games Awards is approaching its final showcase slot, which usually features one of the most anticipated, exciting upcoming video games. The slot arrives, we're greeted to this rocky island, this guy rides a horse, and then we're told it's Highguard. Not much is actually shown about the game, but the immediate audience reception is a dire mix of confusion and cynicism. I cannot imagine what it must have been like to work on this game, have it be your baby, and then basically watch that baby be slaughtered in front of millions of your prospective audience. The damage to Highguard from the decision to show it at the TGA, let alone on its most illustrious slot, is so bad the game goes radio silent on its social medias until it's a few days before its release date a month later on the 26th of January 2026, where its social media chirps briefly about the game and withholds details about how it works until the day of release. Highguard's launch was not a baptism of fire, it was honestly D-Day. The game received almost 20,000 negative reviews in its first 3 days on Steam. Half of those being on its launch day. Most people do not even finish the tutorial before dropping a negative review. The most popular review of the game, when I went to check for this video, has roughly 6 minutes of playtime. 2 weeks later, 90% of the studio is laid off and the game's essentially on life support as it tries to figure out a way forward. And that brings me to this video today. So let's not waste any time. The number one reason this game failed is because of a fundamental misunderstanding of who actually would play this game. Gamers are often conglomerated into this monolithic force that will play anything, but this literally could not be further from the truth. Gaming is highly factionalized between people with different tastes, and the sizes of these audiences vary wildly, from millions to a few thousand. This game's target demographic is a player who rejected every mainstream offering in the competitive FPS space, your Rainbow Six Siege, your Overwatch, your Ark Raiders, and is still looking for their game. And I would be one of those people that the game is targeting, which probably explains why there are 17,000 positive reviews, and the game's review score on Steam has hovered at mixed the more time has passed. This is not a very big demographic, and so when you put your game with niche appeal on a massive stage, its intent gets totally misread. And people are not so live and let live as to let a game get away with trying to appeal to everyone anymore. I'm not saying that Jeff Keighley is to blame, because Highguard should not have even been at the Game Awards full stop. That is a stage reserved for the most beloved and exciting releases, and Highguard, for as much as it brings new things to the competitive FPS space, is not a beloved or exciting release. It is the exact sort of game that we would expect to see, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing when you're showing the game to a bunch of people who are looking for something they've not seen before. And so Highguard now faces a life-threatening uphill battle to prove it's got staying power. The game's 24-hour peak, as of the 14th of February, currently sits at 2,807, so it's safe to assume there's likely double or even triple that many unique active daily users. Highguard's existential threat is the reality that people are significantly less likely to buy things in a game that's future is so uncertain, we're not sure if it could be switched off next year, next month, or next week. So, how do we fix this? I urge Highguard to give players who stick with the game some significantly cheaper buying options, as the skins are currently priced for a game that has a massive player base and a certain future. Discounts of 30%, 40%, or even 50% are necessary to get players some skin in the game, get some cash back in the pockets of Wildlight, and buy some time for the skeleton crew to deliver the most important things. That's everything I have to say. Goodbye, thanks for listening.